Hello, everyone. This is Lisa's Story with Hope Grows. I'm here today bringing you the therapeutic respite activity for the month of November. Our focus for this month is gratitude, and I can't help but stress how, a grateful heart or thinking about, just what we're thankful for, does to our brain. Even when we're in our lowest point or lowest mood, or, sadness that just overwhelms us, focusing on what we're grateful for and waking up and facing each day with a grateful heart can really, really make a difference in how our brain chemistry adapts and adjusts to that sadness and that heaviness that sometimes we feel. And also volunteering. It's amazing what volunteering does to our brain and our overall well-being and how we feel. Sometimes the best antidote for somebody that's grieving is to, muster up the strength and go volunteer somewhere for a little bit, because it can really change how we view, how we just view our world around us. But today we're talking about gratitude, but I'm also bringing to you a nature therapeutic activity, and it's a mindful horticultural activity. And we did this at our Celebrating You event a couple of weeks ago, and everyone just seemed to really resonate with it, that I thought I would, and it wasn't recorded, so I thought maybe that I would do the activity today and record it so that more people can actually see it. And what it's about is a philodendron plant. So I'm not sure if you all know what a philodendron is, but I'll just share what it is. It is a tropical house plant, and it is literally a plant that just vines, and it grows and grows and grows. I'm always cutting them, giving them a haircut, so to speak, and taking the plant and rooting it, and then from there you can make more plants. So years ago, I worked in hospice as a spiritual and bereavement counselor, and I actually created an activity with a philodendron plant for family caregivers of those, helping out and being with and supporting somebody that was terminally ill. When you're around death and dying quite a bit in hospice, or when you're, the caregiver or a family member of somebody that is dying, it's heavy. It's extremely heavy. So there's always that need to focus on something that's going to bring us a little bit of light, a little bit of different energy into, our day-to-day and taking care of that person. So what it is just, it's using plant metaphors and an analogy of this philodendron plant. So basically, it's real quick and short. I just wanted to share about, one thing is the leaf of the philodendron is heart-shaped. And if you really think about the metaphor and the analogy of that heart-shaped leaf, it can remind us of our own heart and our own need for love and support. And when we do a cutting or even take care of a plant, we have to give it water, right? Just like we have to feed ourselves, water and nutrients so that we can maintain our self-care, we need to do the same for this, plant or any plant. And so when we do that and we provide it water, we can, metaphorically look at it and go, okay, it's a source of nourishment, and it can be a reminder for our own need for self-care and our own needs for, having enough water in our diet and enough food. But I want to talk a little bit about that part of the philodendron. So if you've never grown a philodendron before, it's amazing the resilience of this plant. It can literally go weeks without water. Now, what's going to end up happening if it does that, it's going to droop, right? And it's on the inside part where we really can't see, it's going to start to get some dead leaves. And I have done this in the past with a philodendron as I went around years ago using this in a group setting, is I'll distress the plant to prove a point that, like our bodies, if we continue to ignore the need for self-care or the need for water and nutrients, it starts to create some damage on the inside that we can't see. And that's just the same with a philodendron. It slowly starts to decline. And, when I distress it, I start to pull away the dead leaves. Unfortunately, for this activity today, I've not distressed this plant to show you, the difference in what can happen. Well, it's interesting too. if you distress a philodendron plant time and time again, the same plant over and over again, it eventually gets to the point of not being able to be rebounded. It won't rebound back to its original state. And I think that's the same for ourselves. If we continue to ignore our self-care and our need for water and nourishment and nutrients, eventually our bodies are just going to say, whoa, wait a minute, I can't be resilient anymore. And that's when maybe chronic illness sets in or disease might set in. So it's the analogy between the two, I think, is really fitting, and can really speak volumes. And then the other thing with taking care of any plant, but this one too, is by focusing on its growth, it can signify hope, and it can offer the ability to focus on something positive when we're surrounded day to day with just suffering, pain and suffering. It's hard to be around pain and suffering. And if we don't do something to restore that self-care, pain and suffering can turn into traumatic stress, and it can also turn into what's called compassion fatigue. And it's a real thing. And, it can be helped. We can offer different techniques and therapeutic activities and therapeutic support to get ourselves back on our feet, so to speak, with compassion fatigue after it has set in, and burnout for that matter, but it takes a long time. So we want to make sure we're not having to take that long time to recover. We want to keep ourselves, we want to be preventive, right? We want to make sure that we're doing everything we need to do to keep ourselves healthy. So, and then if you take a cutting of this and you share that cutting, it can help us to remember the importance of a social connection. And also, if you're ever at Hope Grows and you want a cutting, let me know. We'll give you a cutting, and that can also help signify, that support that we provide, and knowing that we're just a phone call away, right? And it can also signify the importance of why we need social interaction and why we need, an organization out there to support us in this journey of caregiving. So let's just kind of recap. So if we just want to talk about the 4 components of stress, we have physical stress, that's our body. We have psychological, which is our mental and emotional state. We have relational, which is our social. And then spiritual, we have spiritual stress. So the physical component of this plant will serve as a reminder to continue to nourish our body with food and water and exercise. The psychological component, which is our mind and our emotions, will help one let go of any aspects of life that we cannot control. And taking care of the plant will help us focus on just living and positively looking at, moving forward and focusing. Like if you were to take a cutting of this and put it in a jar of water, a clear jar of water, and put it on your windowsill, eventually you start to see all those roots forming, and it's living. It's a living thing. And by focusing on that, we can focus on just how we're moving forward each day in this area of, caregiving that we do. And then the relational component, which is the social, will reinforce the need for support when looking at the plant the caregiver is watering. So when you're looking at that plant and you're watering it, it can reinforce that, we can't do this alone, right? We can always use a helping hand to some degree in what we're doing. And then the spiritual component of this will help one regain meaning in life and think about that existential concerns that we might have in life. And then when we place that plant in the light, and seeing it there every time that it needs water, it can help us to connect to something higher, something that's, that's more spiritual, that offering that purpose of life or that meaning. So that's pretty much it today. I just wanted to bring you this activity. Like I said, our caregivers at our Celebrating You event a couple of weeks ago just absolutely, resonated with this. And I thought it'd be good to offer that as our November Therapeutic Respite activity. So if you do have a philodendron at home, I just want you to know how to cut it. So if you look at this diagram, it shows the plant node. So where my finger is underneath, where this comes down and then this comes out, the stem comes out, you want to cut it. I'm sorry, this is really, you want to cut it like right underneath there. Okay. And I usually do one that has a really nice, growing end to it. And I'll find, I'll go about this deep in, maybe not that big. And then I'll just you can use scissors or you can just pick it off with your finger. And then sometimes I'll remove this leaf here so it has more room to fit into the vase or the jar that I'm putting it in. And then I'll put it on the windowsill and I'll just watch all the roots start to form. Once it has a good cluster of roots, you can pot it with soil into a pot, like, something like this one here. This plant's pretty big, and it does need a haircut because I've got quite a few, long vines going, and I don't like when it gets that viney. I want to give it a haircut. And then what I'll do is take a cluster of all these cuttings that I have, and I'll put it in a vase. Now, it's interesting, with it being a tropical houseplant, you don't need to put it in soil. This would actually live in a vase of water, and you just see all the roots just start to really form. Now, obviously, it's going to get a lot of roots in there, and you might have to transfer it to a bigger vase or, pull some out and then pot some or give some away. But just know that it can live in water. You don't have to actually plant it in soil. And, you will have to change the water every once in a while because you'll start to see it get a little dark looking. You want to freshen it up by giving it some clean water. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to this activity. And again, if you don't have a philodendron and you're ever in the area where Hope Grows is, let us know. We'll give you some cuttings. So walk away today with a grateful heart. Think of something that you're thankful for or that you're grateful for. And maybe this month, every day, try to focus and wake up that in the morning with thinking of something that you are thankful for. All right. Again, if you need anything from us, please reach out. We're at 412-369-4673, or you can reach us at intake@hopegrows.net. All right, you take care, and I'll see you again. Bye.